Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial on P5.JS. Today we are going to do a little bit of image manipulation. To start with, I've created a empty replit P5.JS with the generated code in there, and I'm going to bring in image into our code so we can manipulate it, apply filters on it, load it, and so on. So the image that I have here is a dog image. Let's quickly rename this and make sure the image that you choose is a JPEG or a PNG. So the generated code already has some things happening in the draw function, which I'm going to comment out. While working with function in P5.JS, it is always better to load the image in the preload function. Preload function gets called before the setup function. So we are going to create a variable that will store our image, and we are going to load the image, and the name of our image here is dog.jpg. So make sure the right path is specified here. Here the image is at the same location where our script is, so we are just going with the image name. The next thing we want to do is we want to actually show this image in our canvas, so let's go ahead and try it. Let's first make our canvas a little bit smaller so it'll be faster. And then what we want to do is we want to do image, and the image we want to show is img, the variable, and the top left corner of the image is going to be at the position 0, 0. So now let's run this and see if everything works. Our image is being loaded, but we are only seeing the top corner of the image. So it'll be better if we can resize the image. So let's do image dot resize, and we want to resize it to the total width and height of the canvas. Now let's try it. So now we can see the image, which is pretty good. If we have to move the image around, all we have to do is change these coordinates. Like if I want the image a little bit off, so if I start the image from 50-50, so the starting point of the image is here, and it is like this. Now, if I actually want to fit the whole image, then I can just minus 50 from here. So then the whole image will be fit, but this part is empty. We can see that more clear if we fill the background with a little bit of color. So here is our whole canvas, but our image is off. So let's go ahead and put the image back at the top position and fill it completely in the canvas. The next thing we want to do is we want to, let's say, apply some filters on the image. So let's start by creating a button. I'm gonna call it black and white button. So let's create the black and white button by calling the function create button. The text on the button is going to be black and white. And this BW button, when mouse is pressed on it, is gonna call the function BW function. And we don't have to make it a string, it's a function name, so BW function. This function does not exist as of now, so let's go ahead and create the function BW function. And all we are going to do now is we are going to apply the filter. So img dot filter, and the black and white filter is called gray. So now let's try that. So this should bring up a small button for us, BW, and let's click on the button and our image becomes black and white. Perfect. Now, what if we want to restore the original image? Let's go ahead and create a button for that. I'm going to call it restore button. So let's go ahead and repeat the process of each creating the button. So create button, restore, and let's associate a function to it. Restore function. So let's go ahead and create this function. And let's quickly check if our button shows up. Okay, everything is good. Black and white still works. Now what we want to do is we want to restore the original image. When we loaded the image in preload, actually, let's just move the code of the button into the setup. That'll be a much better place. We don't want it in the preload. So that'll bring our buttons down. That's much better. So here, the image that we loaded is in the variable img, and that's what we are showing in the draw function. And we applied the filter directly on the variable img. So there is no way to undo it. So the only way to restore is to load the image again. So let's go ahead and use the code to load the image again when you hit the restore button, right? So let's do that. And now if we run it, the image becomes black and white, and then when we hit restore again, we run into the same problem of resizing the image. So we need to resize the image. If we try to resize the image in our restore function itself, let's see what happens. Does it work? So black and white restore, no, it doesn't work. The problem is the load image. The speed of this execution of this statement depends on the size of the image and so on. So this image might not have been completely loaded for us to resize it immediately. So what we have to do is we have to use the callback. So when this image gets loaded, we are going to, when it has been successfully loaded, we are creating a new callback function. So this function, resize function, will get called after the image is loaded. So that's the difference. So now let's see if this works. So black and white, restore, and now it's much better. So when we load the image on the click of the restore button, the callback happens after the image has been loaded, and then the resize works. So now what are the other kinds of filters that we can apply? We can go to P5.JS reference and we can look up for the image filters. So if we look at the image filters, we have other filters here like posterize, blur, and so on. So, but mind you, there are some filters where you need to specify a parameter. For example, posterize, if I simply change the filter here to posterize, you would see it will not work until I specify a parameter here, like let's say 6, let's try. That will determine the effect. And now our image has been posterized. We can still click restore. Now, this is one way of manipulating the image. The other way of manipulating the image is to edit each pixel of it. So edit the RGB value of each pixels. In order to do that, we have to load the pixel. So let's do load pixel. This will give us a chance to identify or step into each of the pixels and manipulate them. Okay, let's see how to do it. For example, I'm going to make another button here called no red, let's say. So let's go ahead and create this button, no red equal to create button no red. So no red dot mouse rest equal to no red function. So in this function, what we are going to do is we are going to look into each of the pixels. So let's start a for loop for w equal to 0, w less than the width of the image. So for as wide as the image, and then similarly for let h for height, this is h less than image dot height. We can now call the img.get function and pass the width and the height. This will return the pixel. Let's put it in a variable, and this pixel will be in the format of an array with 4 items in it. The first will be the value of the red, green, the third one will be blue, and the fourth one will be the alpha. For now, we want to manipulate the red value. So the first element in the array, we're going to make it 0. And now we can do the opposite of what we did here, like image.get. We are going to do image.set at this width, at this height, set this pixel. And once all of this is done, all we have to do is to update the pixels. So img to update pixels. So now let's see how this one works. So now we have a button here called no red, but there also seems to be some error. Let's see if we missed anything. Let's open this in a new tab. Let's go to inspect and let's look at the console to see if there is an error. Load pixel is not a function. Okay, it has to be load pixels. Okay, now let's try this. So our black and white and restore still works. Okay, now if I hit no red, all the pixels have been modified and the red value has been made 0. So that's why the image looks more green and blue. We can still do the restore. Now if I just change this value to 2, let's say, so red, green, blue, 0, 1, 2, all the blues will disappear when I hit this button, and the image is more red and green now. And of course we can still restore. If I want to, let's say, affect only half of the image, then I can always do this. And now only the top half of the image has lost the blue. So you can go ahead and play with this. That was a quick lesson on how to manipulate images, show the images, how to apply filters on the images, and also how to manipulate each pixels in the image. See you all in the next video. Bye.